She slammed a paper on my door and yelled, "Pack your things, this property belongs to the HOA now." I just stared at her, holding back a smile because deep down I knew something she didn't. She thought I was some broke farmer living in a cabin. But she had no idea I wasn't just the owner of the cabin. I owned every acre of the valley she was standing in. Karen stood there like a queen giving orders, waving a fake badge she probably printed off the internet. Behind her, 2 men in cheap uniforms looked uneasy, but she barked at them, "Go inside, check his place." My blood boiled, but I stayed calm. I let them all believe they had the upper hand, because the longer they played their game, the harder the fall would be. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "You sure you want to do this on my land?" Her laugh was sharp, echoing across the quiet valley. "Your land? Don't make me laugh. This entire area belongs to the HOA. You're trespassing in your own house." That was the moment I knew. She had absolutely no clue who she was messing with. The so-called officers moved toward my porch, but I stepped in their way. One of them muttered, "Ma'am, maybe we should wait for real backup." Karen spun on him, her voice shrill. "I am the backup. This man is breaking HOA law, and I said arrest him." She jabbed a finger at my chest like she was stabbing a map. Inside my chest, anger burned, but my mind stayed cool. I let my eyes drift toward the ridge behind my house. Just beyond those trees was the steel gate, the one that clearly marked my boundary lines, the ones legally filed in my name. But I wasn't ready to reveal that proof yet, not until she buried herself deeper. Karen yanked out her phone and started recording. "Everyone will see this criminal dragged out of my neighborhood." Her words sliced like knives, but I knew what she didn't. The camera on my porch was recording too, capturing every lie, every threat, every fake command. She shoved her fake notice closer to my face. "This property is condemned. You have 24 hours to vacate." The paper was so poorly made it still had the watermark from a free online template. I almost laughed, but instead I whispered, "Karen, are you sure you want to put this on record?" For the first time I saw it, the flicker of doubt in her eyes. Just a flicker, but enough for me to know. She was hiding something even bigger. Karen straightened her back, pretending that flicker of doubt never happened. "Don't test me," she snapped, waving the fake notice like it was a royal decree. "I'll have your car towed, your locks changed, and your power shut off. By tonight, you'll be gone." Her words echoed in the valley, but I didn't move. Instead, I looked at the 2 men standing behind her. One avoided my eyes, shifting nervously. The other clenched his jaw, but I could tell. Neither of them believed they had real authority here. They were props in her little theater. I stepped closer, lowering my voice so only she could hear. Funny thing, I actually know the sheriff in this county. I let the pause hang heavy. "Because she's my wife." Her smirk faltered for half a second, but she forced it back, barking louder than before. "Lies, you think you can scare me with stories? I make the rules here." She pointed to my porch camera like it was proof against me. "That footage? I'll have it confiscated." But inside my pulse quickened, not from fear but anticipation, because just then I heard the crunch of tires on gravel. A black SUV rolled up the driveway, dust swirling behind it. Karen's smile widened. "Good, reinforcements are here." She didn't know. Those weren't her reinforcements. Karen puffed out her chest like a queen awaiting her soldiers. "Finally, someone who will listen to me," she hissed as the black SUV stopped a few feet from us. The doors opened slowly and out stepped 2 real deputies in crisp uniforms, badges gleaming, radios crackling. The fake cops behind Karen froze. One even muttered, "Ma'am, maybe we should—" But she cut him off, screeching, "Shut up. This is my operation." She stormed forward, pointing at me like a prosecutor. "Officers, arrest this man. He's trespassing on HOA property, resisting orders, and—" "Ma'am," one deputy interrupted firmly. "What exactly is your authority here?" Her face twitched, caught off guard. "I'm the HOA president. That gives me full control of these properties." The deputies exchanged a glance and then looked at me. "Sir, what's your name?" I gave it calmly, almost enjoying the moment. "I'm the legal owner of this valley." I pointed up toward the ridgeline where my boundary markers were posted. "Every inch from that ridge to the creek below. It's all in my name. County records will back it up." Karen burst into laughter, shrill and shaky. "Don't listen to him. He's a squatter. I have the paperwork right here." She shoved her crumpled fake notice into the deputy's hands. He scanned it once, his eyebrow arched. "This is a template from the internet." He held it up to the sunlight. Watermarks still showing. Karen's face drained of color. For the first time, her voice faltered. No, that's official. And that's when the second deputy's radio buzzed. A female voice came through. Clear, strong, and familiar. Unit 4, this is Sheriff Daniels. I'm en route to the property. Suspect may be impersonating officers. Proceed with caution. Karen's jaw dropped. I couldn't help but smile. Karen's eyes widened as the radio crackled again. Repeat possible impersonation of law enforcement. Do not engage until I arrive. The deputies straightened instantly. Their whole posture shifted from casual to razor sharp. Karen tried to recover, forcing a laugh. Sheriff Daniels, oh please. I know her personally. She'll back me up. You'll see. But her voice wavered, the fake confidence slipping like sand through her fingers. Moments later, dust rose from the main road. Another vehicle approached, this one a county cruiser with lights flashing silently. It pulled up right behind the SUV, and when the door opened, I almost had to bite my lip to hide my grin. Out stepped my wife, Sheriff Daniels. Sunglasses on, badge shining, sidearm at her hip. Calm, powerful. She surveyed the scene with one slow glance, her gaze landing on Karen like a hawk circling prey. Which one of you, she said, her voice low but carrying. Thought it was smart to impersonate law enforcement in my county? The two fake cops instantly dropped their act, stammering, We were just told. But Karen shoved them aside and stepped forward boldly. Sheriff! Thank God you're here. Arrest this man immediately. He's trespassing, forging documents, and threatening me. My wife turned her head toward me, her expression unreadable. Then she looked back at Karen. Funny, because the only person facing charges right now is standing right in front of me. Karen blinked. What, no? No, you don't understand. I run this neighborhood. I'm in charge. My wife removed her sunglasses slowly, eyes locked on Karen. No, you don't understand. This entire valley doesn't even fall under HOA jurisdiction. It belongs to him. She pointed straight at me. Karen's mouth opened, then closed. She looked like a puppet whose strings had been cut. And then, like a cornered animal, she made her next move. Karen's face twisted red, her lips trembling between rage and panic. No, this is a setup. He bribed you, didn't he? She screamed, pointing at my wife. That's the only reason you're protecting him. I'll take this to the governor if I have to. The deputies stiffened, clearly stunned at her audacity. My wife's expression, though calm, hardened into steel. Careful, ma'am. You're already one step from handcuffs. But Karen wasn't backing down. She yanked out her phone, shoving it in the sheriff's face while recording. Everyone will see how corrupt you are. Harboring a criminal! Letting a squatter live for free while honest homeowners like me pay dues. I finally stepped forward, pulling a folder from the bench near my porch. Inside was the original deed, stamped and signed decades ago, passed down to me from my father. You want proof? I held it up so her camera caught it clearly. This land has belonged to my family since before you ever dreamed of running an HOA. Karen's hands shook as she zoomed in with her phone, desperate to discredit it. Fake, that's all fake. The deputies exchanged another look. One leaned toward my wife. Sheriff, she's losing it. That's when Karen snapped. She lunged forward, snatching at the folder in my hand. For a moment, her nails scraped across the paper, but before she could tear it, my wife's voice cracked like thunder. Enough! The deputies moved in, but Karen wasn't done. She spun around, screaming at her fake officers, Do something! Arrest them! That's an order. But the two men didn't move. They just stared at her, pale as ghosts. One finally muttered, Ma'am, we're not going down with you. Karen's face collapsed in shock. She was alone now, and then the sound of more vehicles rolled up the road. This time, it wasn't backup for Karen. It was the press. The crunch of gravel grew louder until 3 vans pulled into the clearing, cameras already pointed out the windows. Local news crews, drawn in by the sheriff's call for backup, spilled out onto the road. Microphones and tripods snapped into place like soldiers forming a line. Karen's eyes went wide. No, turn those off. You can't film this, she shrieked, covering her face with the fake notice she had been waving minutes ago, but the cameras were already rolling. One reporter shouted, Sheriff Daniels, is it true someone was impersonating officers out here? My wife stepped forward, her voice steady and cutting. Yes. We have strong evidence this woman created fake eviction papers, hired 2 men to pose as officers, and attempted to illegally seize private property. The words hit Karen like bullets. She staggered back, still clutching her phone. That's slander. I'm the victim here. He's a trespasser. But her own voice betrayed her. My porch camera's feed was streaming live now, projected on one of the reporter's tablets. It showed everything. Karen planting the fake notice, ordering the imposter cops to enter my home, threatening me on my own land. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Reporters closed in on her, mics thrust toward her face. Did you order men to impersonate officers? Do you admit this notice is fake? Were you trying to steal property outside HOA jurisdiction? Karen spun in circles, panicked like a caged animal with no exit. Her words turned into frantic screams. This is harassment. I own this place. I run everything here. But nobody was listening anymore. The story had flipped. One of the deputies stepped behind her, pulling handcuffs from his belt. Ma'am, you're under arrest for impersonating law enforcement, filing false reports, and attempted fraud. The cameras caught it all. The HOA queen, dragged off in cuffs while the valley she claimed to rule watched in silence. Karen's screams echoed as the deputies led her toward the cruiser, cameras flashing with every step. She kicked at the gravel, shrieking, "You'll regret this. I'll sue every one of you." But no one was listening anymore. The HOA's self-appointed tyrant was finished. Reporters turned to me, microphones pushing closer. Sir, how do you feel knowing she tried to take everything from you? I held the deed up high, the same one she had tried to rip from my hands. My family built this valley. My father worked this land, and I'll be damned if anyone tells me I can't live on what's mine. My voice cracked for a second, but I didn't hide it. I didn't serve this country just to come home and be bullied off my own property. A hush fell, and even the cameras lowered slightly. My wife stepped to my side, her hand firm on my shoulder. She looked straight into the lenses. This is why we stand for property rights. This is why we fight for justice. No HOA, no self-appointed dictator, has the right to take away the freedoms we bled for. The deputies shut the cruiser door, Karen's voice muffled behind glass. The valley felt quieter, freer, like the weight of her lies had lifted off the air itself. I turned back to my cabin, the sun dipping low behind the ridge. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe. I looked at my wife, and a small smile tugged at my lips. She thought she owned this place, I said softly. But now the whole world knows the truth. This valley belongs to us. And as the news cameras rolled, I knew this story wasn't just about me. It was about every American who's ever been told they couldn't stand on their own land. Because tonight, justice won.